A lake of fire appears, in both ancient Egyptian and Christian religion, as a place of after-death destruction of the wicked. The phrase is used in 4 verses of the Book of Revelation. Such a lake also appears in Plato's Phaedo, explicitly identified with Tartarus, where the souls of the wicked are tormented until it is time for them to be reborn, and where some souls are left forever. The image was also used by the early Christian Hippolytus of Rome in about the year 200 and has continued to be used by modern Christians. Related is Jewish Gehenna, which, among other things, like hell, is a valley near Jerusalem where trash was burned. Ancient Egyptian religion. Richard H. Wilkinson has written, according to the coffin texts and other works, the underworld contained fiery rivers and lakes as well as fire demons which threatened the wicked. Representations of the fiery lakes of the 5th hour or house of the Amjad depict them in the form of the standard pool, a lake hieroglyph, but with flame-red water lines, and surrounded on all 4 sides by fire signs which not only identify the blazing nature of the lakes, but also feed them through the graphic dripping of their flames. Some temple texts and modern books have said that the lake of fire in the Egyptian religion is the lake that Ra would pass through in his daily journey in the desert. He goes in the west gate and exits through the east gate, and after that, it would say that the boat was renewed. An image in the Papyrus of ISNI, a version of the Book of the Dead, has been described as follows. The scene shows 4 cynocephalous baboons sitting at the corners of a rectangular pool. On each side of this pool is a flaming brazier. The pool's red color indicates that it is filled with a fiery liquid, reminding one of the lake of fire frequently mentioned in the Book of the Dead. The 1995 edition of the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia says that the Egyptian lake of fire is too remote to be relevant to the use of lake of fire in the Book of Revelation. Lake of fire in the Book of Revelation. The Book of Revelation, written sometime in the last half of the 1st century AD, has 5 verses that mention a lake of fire. Revelation chapter 19 verse 20, "And a beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that he had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone." Revelation chapter 20 verse 10, "And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever." Revelation chapter 20 verses 14 to 15, "Then death and Hades were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And anyone not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire." Revelation chapter 21 verse 8, "But as for the cowardly, the faithless, the detestable, as for murderers, the sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars, the portion will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death." A commonly accepted and traditional interpretation is that the lake of fire and the second death were symbolic of eternal pain, pain of loss and perhaps pain of the senses, as punishment for wickedness. Lake of fire in other religions. Jehovah's Witnesses interpret the lake of fire and second death of the Book of Revelation as referring to a complete and definitive annihilation of those cast into it. Christian Universalists interpret the lake of fire as an instrument of purification, refinement that will bring all people into a relationship with God. The word for torment in Revelation chapter 14 verse 10 is the Greek basanazo, which has a primary meaning of testing with a touchstone. The lake of fire is not only for torment but for testing. The analogy is in testing metal with a touchstone brimstone to make sure it is pure. Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and other churches within the Latter-day Saint movement read of a concept of the lake of fire in the Book of Mormon. In several passages of the record, the most descriptive instance of a lake of fire in the Book of Mormon occurs in Jacob 6:10, which reads, "Ye must go away into that lake of fire and brimstone, whose flames are unquenchable, and whose smoke ascendeth up forever and ever," which lake of fire and brimstone is endless torment. The Book of Mormon also refers to the lake of fire as a state of second death, of spiritual death, where there is no hope for redemption or salvation. Lake of unquenchable fire. In the 3rd century, Hippolytus of Rome pictured Hades, the abode of the dead, as containing a lake of unquenchable fire, at the edge of which the unrighteous shudder in horror at the expectation of the future judgment, already feeling the power of the punishment, while the righteous are brought to a locality full of light, enjoying always the contemplation of the blessings which are in the view, and delighting themselves with the expectation of others ever new. The 3rd century writing explicitly pictures the lake of unquenchable fire as the eternal destiny of the unrighteous, who, while awaiting execution of the judgment upon them, are tortured in the abode of the dead by the vision of their doom. Mark chapter 9 verse 43 has Jesus himself used the image of a punishing unquenchable fire. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life maimed than with 2 hands to go into Gehenna, into the unquenchable fire. Quote, "Sea of fire." In the 20th century, the Catholic Portuguese visionary Lucia Santos reported that the Virgin Mary had given her a vision of hell as a sea of fire. Our Lady showed us a great sea of fire which seemed to be under the earth. Plunged in this fire were demons and souls in human form, like transparent burning embers, all blackened or burnished bronze, floating about in the conflagration, now raised into the air by the flames that issued from within themselves together with great clouds of smoke, now falling back on every side like sparks in a huge fire, without weight or equilibrium, and amid shrieks and groans of pain and despair, which horrified us and made us tremble with fear.